Hi, I'm Scott Sandhill here at the Culinary Institute of America. Today we're going to make a smoky tomato and cannellini bean soup. So taking a look at our ingredients, there's very few ingredients in this tasty soup. We have a garlic, shallots, we're going to use some marjoram, some smoked bacon, our cooked cannellini beans, onion, and some canned tomatoes. We'll finish it with a little bit of salt and pepper, olive oil, and fresh Parmesan, and it'll be a great soup. So the first thing I want to do is make the base of the soup. I'm going to cook down my bacon with a couple tablespoons of olive oil to render out the fat and develop a nice base flavor. So this will take about 2 minutes to render out the fat. Then I'm going to remove about 2 tablespoons of the bacon fat, but leave the bacon in. As that's cooking, let's look at the next step. We're going to be adding garlic, shallots, some diced onion, and I'm going to use some oregano that I'll chop up. So these 4 ingredients will be added to the bacon once we've rendered it down in a couple minutes. So the bacon's starting to get crispy, and we've rendered out a little bit of fat. Now we're going to go ahead and add our onions, garlic, and shallots. I want to cook this until these have started to caramelize and color slightly. This is all about developing flavor in the base of the soup. So I don't want to stir constantly, just every once in a while. In the meantime, let's have our oregano ready for adding. So this is going to be considered like a woody herb, between a leafy and a woody herb. And after our onions are colored, we're going to add this base herb and cook it down a little bit to develop more flavor. We're also going to add a little bit of smoked chipotle powder, and then we'll go into the rest of the soup. So these are the cannellini beans that I cooked ahead of time. The recipe calls for 3 cups of cooked cannellini beans. I soaked these overnight, drained them, and then I cooked them simmered with enough water to cover by about 3 to 4 inches, along with 1 onion that's been diced and a bay leaf. So I'm incorporating some flavor into my cannellini beans as I'm cooking it. Okay, so this has cooked down for about 8 minutes, and I've developed some nice color on the vegetables. And you see all that brown on the bottom of the pot, that's called fond. As we add the tomatoes, that will kind of deglaze all of that up and incorporate the flavor. So this is good flavor. We're going to add our chopped oregano, 2 tablespoons, a teaspoon of chipotle powder. We can use paprika here if we want. Something to give it a little bit of a smoky flavor. You could use an ancho powder or another chili powder. And I just want to saute this to kind of activate the spice and herb. And it's smelling amazing. At this point, I want to add my canned tomatoes. And I'm using a simple 28-ounce can for this recipe. Canned tomatoes and 2 cups of chicken stock. All right, and we're going to bring this to a simmer. I want to cook this down for about 20 to 30 minutes to kind of, 1, break down the tomatoes, incorporate all the flavors of the base onions that we did, and also kind of reduce the amount of acid in the tomatoes to kind of mellow it out. So the next step is to add our cooked cannellini beans. And I'm going to take our marjoram. It's slightly different than oregano, a little bit more floral. Add our marjoram. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of kosher salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And this soup is almost done. I want to cook this for about another 3 to 4 minutes to blend the flavors, and then we'll serve it. And at this point, we could take it off the heat and cool it completely and use it in the next day or 2. Okay, this smells great. It's cooked down for about 3 minutes. Now we're ready to serve it. And I have my fresh Parmesan that I'm going to grate and some olive oil. So there we go, our smoky tomato and cannellini bean soup, garnished with a bit of olive oil and fresh Parmesan cheese.